Okay, so let's say you have started a software business or just thinking about starting a software business, and one of the big questions you have in your mind is about leaving your current job or taking the plunge, right? So a lot of people are like, "Well, how did you just pick up and leave your job and start your business?" Because you're a little bit scared of the risk. Like, what if your business fails? Now you lose a nice steady job, right? For sure, I had those worries for sure, and I'm sure like it's very scary to think about that. But here's the interesting thing about starting a software business, right? Because there's two parts to it. So one, starting a software business is not like, say, opening a restaurant, right? When you open a restaurant, you have to get a lot of capital. You have to rent a space, and I can't imagine opening a restaurant. I think it'd be one of the most stressful businesses to start. But starting a software business, it's not like you have to invest a whole bunch of money up front, right? Like, it can be you and your computer literally just coding for a client or for your own business or whatever. That's all you need to get going. So with that in mind, it's not like you have to like put 100% of your effort right away into your business and take the plunge and leave your job, right? So if you're worried about that, let me share with you what I did. And what's interesting is I found out that a lot of other people, maybe not a lot of other people, but I've heard other people do this, and it's not that uncommon. So I was really worried. I was really worried about, like, I'm interested in starting Bite Site, but like, how can I just leave my job? And so what I did was I do what I think a lot of software startups do, which is moonlight first, right? So the nice thing about moonlighting is you still have your steady 9 to 5 job, or not 9 to 5, but your regular job that's paying you good income, and you're moonlighting. And then at some point you want to say, okay, I want to again take the plunge, but you don't have to take the plunge so harsh. You can kind of wade in the water. And what I mean by that is I went to my boss and I said, I would like to cut back my time at my current job so I can focus more on my personal business, right? And, I was very lucky that my boss was very open to that idea, right? And so the idea was, I was moonlighting at that time. So what I said is, like, can I do 1 day a week working on my business, and then 4 days a week with my current job? And then eventually 2 days and three, and then three, and then two, and then eventually wind down. Ultimately to the point where at the very end, I was doing 1 day every 2 weeks at my regular job, and then the rest of my time on my personal business Bite Site, right? So I weaned off of my current job, and that was great because I was de-risking, starting my own business and taking the plunge and stuff like that. So I found out later on, I was talking to a colleague entrepreneur of mine, and they did the same thing. They talked to their boss about winding down their time, and doing their business. And the interesting thing about this is, those situations, you can be very transparent with your manager or your boss, right? Now, granted, not every manager and every boss is supportive, and not every manager and every boss is a good boss. Okay, there are definitely situations I know where it's probably really hard to talk to your boss about this. But if you have a half decent boss or manager, okay, then being open with them about your career aspirations and your projects is not a bad thing. I've heard so many stories about managers and bosses being very supportive of personal growth and stuff like that, even if it's not directly benefiting the business, right? Like their business. So if you go to them and you say, "Look, this is my plan. I would love it. I'm a little bit, nervous about running my business. So it'd be sweet if I could just be, be able to wean off my current job." They might be fully supportive, and in fact, a lot of places, if you're a good employee there, they will be happy to get anything they can from you, because the alternative is that you leave completely and then they lost a really good employee, right? If you kind of wean off, that gives them some time to transition someone in new, and maybe you help with that transition and everything like that, right? So this idea of taking the plunge and quitting your job to start your new business, it doesn't have to be that way, especially if you're someone who's nervous with risk like I was. Okay, you can talk to your boss, be open and transparent with them. One, they probably want you not to just instantly leave the job. Okay, but two, again, if they're a half decent human being, they'll probably be very supportive of you. All right, and they may even help you out. You'll be surprised, right? Being open and honest and transparent with your plans with your boss helps them plan as well, right? So I think worst for them is uncertainty and unknown, right? If they know that this is what you're planning to do, they can kind of work around that and help you with that. And I was fortunate enough that I had a super good boss who really helped me with that. But even a half decent boss would be probably that. So if you have started a software business or you're thinking about starting a software business and you're worried about that uncertainty, de-risk it by working with the current company that you're working with. Work with them to make the transition a bit smoother and a bit easier for you. And if anywhere along the way your business fails, you know what? I think they'd be okay with you saying, look, I want to come back to the job. The reality is, okay, good managers and good bosses and good organizations realize that no employee is for certain at their company forever. Okay. They realize that. They realize people move on, people switch off and all this stuff like that. So the good bosses, the good managers, the good organizations will do what they can to help and support their employee, because doing that, right, only benefits them, right? You keep a good relationship with them. If your side business fails, then you'll go back to them. Like, that is all in their best interest. Okay. And if they're not like that, I can't speak from personal experience, but maybe that's a boss or company or organization you don't want to work for anyways. But anyways, you might be surprised that you don't have to work in secrecy on your business. You can be very open with people, and yeah, it may go a lot smoother. So that was my story. Hopefully you guys resonate with that. I would love to hear from other entrepreneurs if they've experienced similar stories, because I would love for people to be to feel a little bit less uncomfortable with the risk of taking the plunge, and more comfortable with wading in the water. So hope that helped you out.